Welcome everybody to the house of the men's mental health. Right now, I'm currently waiting for Jared and Rob to join me. We try to do it every first Sunday of the month. So anybody that's new to checking this out, um, basically what we're trying to bring awareness to men's mental health. It's one of those things that guys hold in so much, and they're expected to be manly men and all that stuff. And you know what? We're human just like everybody else. You know, and it's not just depression for men alone. I mean, it affects everybody. But it just seems like a lot of times with men, we bear the brunt of so much stuff. We hold it in. We try to pretend that we're okay, everything's all right, and it's just not that way sometimes. So we always need to find our outlets and stuff like that. All right, I got Jared coming in right now. Hey, what's going on, Jared?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Good, man. Good. We're live already. I figured get us going since we already hit the four o'clock. But yeah, man, how's everything going with you, brother?
All right, buddy, how are you doing?
I can't complain, man. I can't complain. We all have good days and bad days and stuff like that. And lately it's been somewhat a little more bad days than good days, but it is what it is. It just seems like we all have good days and bad days and stuff like that. There he is, my hair as I get my. Lately it's been somewhat a little more bad days than good days, but it is what it is. There we go. Had to mute my computer there in the background. How's everything been with you, brother?
Good. I go same old, same old. I like monotony.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? No news is good news.
Exactly. How's the health and fitness stuff going, man?
It's actually going pretty good. I mean, we can't really do a ton with it yet because just don't have the time with still working. But so far we got a couple, really good clients, and my wife works endlessly with her end of it, which is the nutrition and the more of the functional medicine part of it, So
Mhm.
it's good. It's fun. It's something we do together, and it's something that I think we'll be successful at it once we have the time to put into it.
Yeah. How many more days you got to retirement?
I got 3 months, like 3.5 months.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations, brother. Yeah, you're
Thank
definitely
you.
welcome, brother.
I am
Um,
ready to go.
I don't blame you one bit. How long you been at the prison?
Almost July will be 25 years.
God bless you, man. God bless you. So, all right, you've seen a lot of mental health problems while working in the prison.
Yeah, but more behavioral, honestly.
More behavioral
There's
than
some. I
anything.
mean, there's some that are mental health. I mean, I think everybody goes through their, anxiety and depression, you know what I mean, going in and being in, worrying about their families and stuff like that, which is, totally understandable.
Yeah.
But, as far as like your real bad mental health cases, I've seen, enough, but out of the tens of thousands of inmates I've seen, most of it's a behavioral issue.
Okay. Um, do how can I ask this? What do you think causes those behavioral issues? Just upbringing,
There's
or
just so
just
much. I think a lot of it's upbringing. I think honestly, a lot of it's environment and upbringing, and no accountability. A lot of the offenders lack a strong basic skill set. Which is something we try and help them with. In prison. So they can get a job when they get out and everything. But I think a lot of it, honestly, is just the discipline. And
yeah.
um, trying a lot of it's trying to make a quick buck. I try to get into the drugs a lot. A quick dollar. A lot of the guys who are big time drug dealers, they're not drug users; they're dealers. Um,
Yeah. Trying to make
and
that
then
quick buck.
and then you got the gang violence and the gangs. They don't have a strong family life or a strong social connection, so they join the gang and then they get that there. But and a lot of times you get the violence and the drugs with the violence and everything else kind of all mixed together, and makes for a bad way. And once your rap sheet starts going up or your offense is bad enough, that's when you start looking at the serious time, you know.
Yeah, and it's a shame too. It's definitely a shame.
Yeah,
Um,
some of them guys, they're it's not that they're bad people, they just did bad things, you know. And some of them are legitimately horrible human beings,
yeah,
you know. So
without a doubt, man, without a doubt. I mean, betting your whole time there, seeing all that the behavior problems and stuff, has that ever taken a toll on you?
absolutely. It has
Okay.
it skews your whole view of how you view people, period. You know, like
Yeah.
you're always you don't trust anybody. You know what I mean? And you're constantly like, I don't want to say like on edge, but like when me and my wife go out to eat, I like having my back to the wall. I can see the door, who's coming in, you know. And I was part of we have is a disturbance control team. It's like kind of like a special operations team. I was a part of that for it's like 16 years. And, you know, we were trained in, you know, just, you know, hostages and, you know, like disturbances and things like that. And then, you know, you just see things different and it kind of skews your reality of things, you know. So I'm kind of looking forward to having that go away a lot, you know, because it's just a little, it just makes you not all the time. You're not always you know, you're not always the life of the party. You know what I mean? You're always, you know, you don't, like I said, you see the bad in people before you see the good.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, and I've heard that from a lot of prison guards too. Bartending throughout the years, I had a lot of guys that, that would come in after work, and some of them were just drowning their sorrows just to forget
Yeah.
that day.
A lot
And
of them,
I felt bad
oh,
for them.
yeah, a lot of them, there's a lot of alcoholism and
Hmm.
not really drug use, but alcoholism with guys, women who work in prison. There's a lot of alcohol abuse,
Hmm.
you know?
I, and it's one of those things that's quick and easy to help numb that pain or just help try to shut off the mind. And I never condone it, but I understand why they do it.
Yeah.
Anybody. Oh, all right. So this is the House of Men's Mental Health. So we got to talk about mental health, brother. That's the big part of this, And I notice a lot of people sometimes when you tell them, ways to help them, they kind of make excuses for it.
Hmm.
Like I kind of feel this way, or I kind of feel that way, or like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. You know what? Oh, you're real. You can fucking do it. You can fucking do it no matter what. You just got to help get that mindset. What would you say to people that kind of give excuses, like when you had, like, you're giving them advice to kind of get them in that better headspace, and they're just like, no, I can't do it. Or I just feel this way or that way. Like to come up with something else for it is, for me, I think the straight and narrow is just you can do it.
Yeah, you got to be. I mean, for me, I think the same. Like this, there's no reason to beat around the bush or spin them or anything like that. I mean, to a certain degree, I become like, then if you don't want help, then that's on you. You know, like I can't make you get help. You know, this is
Yeah,
what
you
I
can only
see. This is what I
support
see.
you
This
the
is what I
tools.
went through. You know what I mean? I can't. You know what I mean? I can't make you get the help that I personally think you need. But if you know you want to keep being like the way you are, then and you're not happy with that, then I mean that's on you. And a lot of times, sometimes that works better, as rotten as it is, because then you know there's no added attention, there's no added drama, there's no nothing. It's just, listen, he just basically told me, you know, like there's no sympathy here. It's either you're gonna go do it or you're not. You know, and
Yeah, and that I think that's a big part of it too. Is like sometimes with the mental health disorders and stuff like it, people get so far down, like it's like they're trying to climb their way out of it, but they're locked in their heads and they keep on saying the stuff. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't do this. I can't do that. But ultimately, in the end, it is down to you to take care of that.
yep.
You know.
I'm telling you, my worst enemy when it comes to mental health, it's not so much the depression, it's the anxiety. And I've always been high strung, and
Mhm.
um, if I don't have the outlet, or like that makes it even worse. You know what I mean? Like the outlet for me, like I can't like a perfect example. If I'm home, if I'm at my house and I got shit to do here and my wife's at work, my
Mhm.
mind will run sometimes a little bit more than it normally runs, you know? When I leave the house, I'm good. It's like I'm a different person.
Yeah.
I come home, it's, nighttime or whatever, and we're home here together, I'm good. But a lot of times that alone time is what triggers the slightest little bit, and that can grow, you know? So like my anxiety
It
is
gets the
what
best of you.
yeah, that's my vice. And like too, like just normal stress, normal everyday stressors, and then it's easy to get overwhelmed and stressed and stuff like that, and then that just adds to it. And a lot of times it's hard to understand, it's hard to deal with, but it's just a lot of times it's one thing I said when I retire, like I'm not gonna have the stress that I normally have, and it's almost to the point where like don't like I'm looking forward to not having it, but it's almost
Mhm.
like you think like, what am I gonna do without it? I've had it for so long, you
Yeah.
know. So I think that too is a lot of times why people don't get help is because they think, well, this is just normal for me, and it's not. It's not normal.
And all right, so one thing you said is about overthinking. I noticed with overthinking a lot too. Like it, once you have downtime and you just constantly overthink stuff, like all of a sudden you're pulling different emotions out. All of a sudden, and you're almost like hyping yourself up or angering yourself or saddening yourself in those moments. One thing I've come to find out with like overthinking and anxiety, ice cold water, splash it on your face. It's like a trigger.
Really?
Um, yeah, it basically like your mind's like in a fight or flight
Hello?
sink. Get ice cold water. It just starts. There we are.
There you
You
go.
back?
There you are.
Yes. For some reason, it blacked out there. I had you up on the computer here, but I didn't have you on the phone. Yeah, with that there, like when your mind starts racing a lot, um, my therapist said best thing in the world, ice cold water, splash it on your face, and I was like, bullshit, fucking ice water, that like the ice cold water, that's gonna change. First time I did it, man, it was fucking amazing. I was like, holy shit. It takes your brain out of that fight or flight mode.
I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, man. That's a very good one. That helps me through anxiety. There's like when you start getting panic attacks too, when it starts building up,
Yeah.
breathing through a bag, that kind of stuff helps. But
I
yeah, man, the
haven't had
overthinking.
I haven't had I used to have panic attacks. Not a lot, but I had a few. And then like if I get real stressed, like real
Mhm.
stressed, every now and again I'll have one. And I unless you have had one, I don't think you can actually understand how much that takes out of you. It is
Yes.
it is in a 5-minute panic attack. I could work out for 4 hours and not be as fatigued as I am from a 5-minute panic attack. Like it
Yeah,
just takes
100%.
everything and their mother out of you, you know?
Yep. And because you feel like you're having a heart attack, and it's like when you're in that moment when it's going on, like your brain just goes to your body and thinks like this is over, this is it, and it's
Yeah.
really not. And
And
sometimes
it's
it
the
gets confusing
breathing.
for older people that get panic attacks. Like they're
Yeah.
probably always thinking that, man, I'm having a heart attack here, and they're always on edge.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another thing that helps. Though is breathing through the bag helps with panic attacks. But the panic attacks usually happen um, from when the anxiety just builds up so much. It builds up and builds up and builds up, um, and then all of a sudden it's like your body just says "fuck, man." Like, and then it goes into that fight or flight mode, and you could get that panic attack on top of it.
Yeah. I know
Um,
when I get them I've had one, probably 2 months ago, and it wasn't so much like feeling like a heart attack except for the breathing. You know what I mean? Like that breathing that like you're you're short of breath, but you're not short of breath. You're kind of at that in between spot, and then like
Hmm.
you're just like, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like talking is like it's like everything's so shaky and you're sweaty, and I guess it is kind of like a heart attack, but like once you have one or two, you kind of know. And like when I could feel them coming, I can try and push them all. And a lot of
Hmm.
times it works because I don't really, thank God, I don't really get them much. Um, but when I do get them, like they're they're exhausting. Is the only way I
Oh
could
yeah.
put it.
Yeah, you honestly feel like like you have like the worst cold in the world, like that body rundown feeling, and you just don't want to do
Yeah,
anything from there
no, your joints hurt. Everything.
because everything tenses up in that moment. By the way, what's up, Chad? How you doing today, man? Thanks for commenting and joining in here. I don't know where Rob's at today. He was
I
he
don't
was
know.
super happy.
He messaged me this morning. I don't know.
I put the link in our chat, so hopefully it didn't get wrapped up. But yeah, man, it's and all right. So everyday life stresses. I'll talk about some about myself. Hey, what's going on, Josh? Currently, right now, I moved 3 hours away from Berks County where I used to live, and now I live up in Bradford County with my mom. And
Right.
she's been getting older and going through some health issues herself. It's that time of in life where dementia's kicking in and all that stuff. So recently, man, she put a potato in the microwave with aluminum foil and was fully well aware of what was going on. So right now she's dealing with some health issues right now and getting taken care of. But that's part of one of the stresses I have in my life,
Yeah,
in the background.
and that's a
And
lot. That's a
yeah,
lot.
yeah, and it's a lot taken, especially like with your parents too, because you see them, the love and stuff like that they had for you, and then all of a sudden their mind starts to change, and you got to come to accept that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can't. A lot of people can't.
My wife's grandfather died from dementia, and um, I know what it did to his wife and to her and to everybody. It was and you you think I guess it's kind of like the same as people who end up. I know when my grandfather died when I was 12, and he was the reason I got into sports. You know what I mean? He was always with the sports and everything, and
Mhm.
when he died, he didn't have dementia. He had cancer. He worked in the mines. He ended up getting cancer, and it spread throughout his body. And when it went to his brain, it was almost like the same thing when I watched the dementia. You know what I mean? It was almost like having, because things he didn't do for um, you know 20 years, he was trying to do. Like, he quit smoking 20 years ago, and he was asking for a cigarette, and
Mhm.
he was doing, like just, not knowing who people were, and things there, but dementia is very hard to deal with. So I sympathize with you there, because that's a lot on your plate, buddy.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I think part of it for me with dealing with this, I've been a bit weathered for the storm. My grandparents, my grandfather, my dad's side, my grandmother, my mom's side, both had Alzheimer's disease um, back when I was a young teenager. For me, it was like my grandparents were like stern, old school, but then all of a sudden
Yeah.
I'm playing hide and seek with my grandmother, who at first I didn't understand, but once it was explained to me, I was like, oh, okay. And I think for me at a younger age, it kind of weathered me for that storm. My
Yeah.
grandfather, he when they figured out what was going on, he was retired for about 10 years. And one day he got up and said, I'm going to work.
Yeah.
He got to the gate and they're like, no, you don't work here anymore. So that's when things were starting to, oh, this is what's happening now, you know. But at least he was able to realize where he worked though after 10 years of being retired.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't like, that's why, like, like I never to this day, until the day I die, I never ever regretted any contact sports I did, wrestling, all the concussions I had with wrestling. I will never ever regret any of it. But it does, as I get older, concern me a little bit as to where my brain will be should I live to be 75 years old. Because I don't want any, like, there's one thing taking care of somebody. I don't want anybody to have to, take care of me, take care of me. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
So,
I
well,
look
well,
like
well. Well, well, well. Look who decided to join us.
All these medications make me a little sleepy, so I fell asleep.
How was
What's
yesterday's
good?
show?
What's that?
How was the show yesterday?
Oh, our show was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, 2 weeks ago. Sorry about that. My
Yeah, it was
brain's
really
so
good.
flooded with different Facebook posts and stuff like that. I'm sorry.
Yes,
That was really
yeah,
good.
yeah, it was really good. Some of the matches were a little chaotic, but the fans loved it. That's what mattered. I can
By the way,
criticize it all day.
shout out to Dexter. He messaged me before we went live here and said, "I hope we kill it today." And he was very proud of accomplishing what he did. So huge shout out to Dex, man.
Absolutely, I love Dexter, man. He's doing such a great job. You know, he's he's a year and I'm guessing 7 months, 8 months clean now.
Yeah,
You know, he
that's
deserved. I'm so proud of him, man. He deserves those titles, man. He's doing really good, man. He comes to training every day, even when he's hurt. He comes, gets in the ring and he trains, man. He's doing really good, man.
sticking with him, man. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yep. Yeah, man.
Uh, so you just joined us, man. We were talking about we talked a little bit about panic attacks, anxiety attacks. I had spoke a little bit about what was going on with my mom and stuff like that, and with a little bit of dementia and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's hey, like I said, it's part of life.
You're right. It is, but it still sucks.
It still sucks. But remember on our last podcast we did, and I really
Yes.
stuck with us, man. It comes to the biggest thing: acceptance.
Acceptance. Yep.
Acceptance all the way around. You
Yes,
can't
sir.
change it. You just gotta accept it.
Yeah, you can't change nothing. You gotta accept it. You have no choice but to.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so what's new in your life going on these days, brother?
Well, the panic attack situation you guys were talking about. So I take this one pill 3 times a day, and it makes me pee like this.
Is it the hydroxyzine?
Yeah,
Because it
yeah.
slows you
So,
down.
oh man, it does. So I backed off of it down to 1, and I shouldn't have just went straight to 1. And so we went out to a restaurant, and boy, the panic attack was crazy. felt like
Feels like everything's
felt like
closing in.
oh, it was crazy. It was insane, man. And I said to Dexter, I said, because back in the day, I used to hustle and do my dirt. Everyone knows about that. I said, man, this is worse than being paranoid doing cocaine. I said it was horrible. Man, I was so paranoid. I was looking at everyone like they had fucking 3 heads and shit. I was like, oh, it was awful. I must have looked like a straight fool. and Dexter was calming me down. That's the funniest part. So, but yeah, panic attacks suck.
That they do. That they do.
Yeah, man.
So, all right. What are some of your tips to help deal with anxiety and panic attacks? One thing I had told Jared was ice water. When you're getting in the middle
Yeah.
of an anxiety attack, splash it on your face. When you're overthinking too much, it resets your brain.
Oh, I'm overweight, man. I throw ice water on me, I'm probably gonna have a heart attack. No,
You are on a live stream right now with a health guru. Just saying.
it's all right. I don't know. I try to like when I feel it coming on, I
Mhm.
start first. I'm like, all right, you're not having a heart attack. You're not, because that's what some of the feelings are like a heart attack, and I'm like, no, you're not having a heart attack. You're not having a heart attack. I just try to think of happier places, man. Like everything I do in nowadays revolves around my grandkids. Like if I start having a panic attack, I'll start thinking of them. I'll start thinking of the things they say, like the funny
Mhm.
things they say. You know what I mean? And that's the stuff that tries to, calm me down a little bit. But I don't have them on a regular basis. I usually only have them like if I'm like really stressed out about something. But I thank God I don't have them a lot anymore. So
That's a good thing, brother. That's a very good thing. And grandkids, they are amazing. I recently just had my first grandkid, Jackson. He was born.
yeah.
Uh, so yeah, we were hoping he was going to be a St. Patrick's Day baby. He, he missed the mark by a few days.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah, close
Yeah,
enough.
yeah,
It's
Close
still
enough.
St. Patrick's Day. Still St. Patrick's Day.
yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, man.
So I just want anybody that's watching this out there to know that us three right here, if you have, like, if you need help or you feel like you need help, feel free to message any one of us. If that's all right with you
Absolutely.
guys.
Absolutely.
I
You
I
know,
say it
that's
all
what
the
we're here
time
for.
to people, man. It's like I would rather talk to somebody than hear that I should have talked to that person,
Hmm.
or wishing I would have talked to that person. So, I definitely would talk to people, man. Always.
Most definitely. And I will always give you my best advice, the best I can. Um, and it's a matter if you take it or not. If you keep making excuses and saying, "Oh, I can't do this. I can't. Oh, but I feel this way. But I feel that way." Like
Right.
I will give you so much that same advice. It's a matter if you're going to take it. And that's
Yeah.
that's a big part of it too. When you want the help, you're going to get the help.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I just went through that actually Friday. I have a person that I love dearly, that I'm really close to, and you know, like again, I'm not blaming it on me stop taking the pills the way I'm supposed to, but the reaction I had to this person was it was the old Rob. It was the old Rob who wants to fight and do dumb shit. You know what I mean? And this person who I got into this fight with also needs to be medicated. And they keep talking about being medicated, or they don't want to be medicated, but they want the help. And so, them not getting the help they need also help this fight take place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without sounding like a dick or getting too much into what happened. But
Mhm.
the fact that they want help, but they haven't gotten it, that helped escalate the situation that
Mhm.
happened between me and him. So,
And it's like we're three wise men here, but at the same time, we're not going to be the ones to take your hand to take you to get you that help. At the same
well,
time, we
because
can
because
if need be.
but if we just take them, they're not doing it for themselves. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah.
Like the first steps is like saying to yourself something's wrong.
Yeah.
And it's those closed moments too as guys. We say to ourselves, nothing wrong, nothing's wrong, nothing's wrong until something is wrong.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I can tell you that Friday, if y'all guys would have saw me Friday, y'all would have been like, wow. Y'all would have been disappointed. I was disappointed in myself. I yelled in front of a new tryout. His mom was there. Oh man, I just was a complete jackass. I embarrassed my wife and daughter. They tried to calm me down. I kicked them out of the building. You know what I mean? Like it was just bad, guys. So yeah, if you need help, get the help, man. Like it's there. It's there for anybody.
Exactly. Exactly. It's everywhere too nowadays, from simple text messages to the phone calls to, different
Absolutely.
facilities that you gotta get to. I mean, it is there. What are your thoughts on that, Jared?
I mean, I'm not disappointed in Rob. I do the same shit.
Mhm.
So you know what I mean. I mean, sometimes honestly, I'm telling you, the longer I go with, I think I've had mental health issues probably without even knowing it since I was a young kid. Like I said, being high strung, anxiety, and everything. And I think a lot of times, like I said before, the tough love sometimes is what works the best. It works
Yeah.
the best for me because sometimes you do need to be told everything's going to be okay, depending on the situation and whatever. And other times you need to be told knock it off. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
I have no problem whatsoever. Like I'm. It's funny because I'm 48 now, and I don't feel 48. I feel good. But you lose that. The older you get, the more tolerance you lose.
Mhm.
I think just
Yeah.
because of the shit you see and dealt with and everything else, and
Yeah.
like I have no problem. I think sometimes, honestly, sometimes a good ass chewing is probably a good thing. Is it a good
Yeah.
thing for everybody in every situation? No, but I do think there are times when you need to let it go because sometimes people just they build that up and they push 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 and they give you that excuse and everything else and try this and you don't have to change everything at one time no matter what you're doing,
Right.
but a little at a time, you know what I mean, and they just don't want to do it. Like I said, like I wouldn't have gone except my wife basically told me you're going or else, and this was years ago,
Right.
so I think a lot of it comes with again, the stigma of being weak or, being whatever and all comes along with it. I think, that's the furthest thing from the truth. And if
Right.
like I said, you care about yourself, care about your family and everything else, just, if you think it, just go talk to somebody, get an assessment or an evaluation or something, a professional
Yeah.
opinion. And, how you're going to feel, you know,
Mhm.
Right.
you might not want to admit it, but
Yeah.
Chad says one step at a time. And Jason Holt, he says, hi, everyone.
hello,
So
Jason.
Jason, Jason, J- Jason, Jason was there and witnessed on Friday.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Jason was there. He goes, this guy's like almost 7 feet tall. He goes, you scared me, Rob. Oops, I didn't mean to scare you, Jason.
After, but you know what though? People should know, like by now, that know you long enough, know me long enough.
Right.
Like this is just part of who you are. You know what I mean?
You're
It's just
right. You're
part.
right. That's for
It
sure.
could be. It could be. You could be on any medication, the right dose, the wrong dose, the excess dose. Every now and again, it's gonna blow, and you just,
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
for sure. For sure.
You know?
And it's not with that tough love. Like, because honestly, if you coddle sometimes that somebody's in a depressive mode or anxious mode or whatever it is, like, sometimes I feel like you're enabling that if you're coddling it.
Yeah. 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 Me too. I get what
You
you're
know,
saying completely.
Yeah. There's a time
like
and a place for both. You know what I mean? You just gotta
yes,
use your common sense and do the best you can with it.
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. And you said earlier, like you thought you had some mental problems since you were younger. 9 out of every 10 people have some form of mental disability in one way or another.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
For sure.
and it, and it could be something small, like a very slight thing, but it's still a disorder in one way or another.
Yeah.
But at the same time, everything can be treated and everything can be worked on, you know, just a matter how you take it.
Yep.
All right. So I brought this up before. I've said this to Rob, Jared. Do you think in professional wrestling, with how violent it is, do you think it's a form of self harm?
No, no. I'll tell you what. wrestling. I started wrestling when I started training when I was 20. I was 21 when I had my first match, and
Mhm.
wrestling lasted. Wrestling was always here. It
Mhm.
was always here. You know, it went through everything with me. The toughest things in the world that I had to deal with ever. I always had that. I always had that. And I had that to look forward to. And even if it was just for the 3 hours that show went on and
Mhm.
I got to get it out of me and everything like that, like I always felt so much better. Wrestling saved me from nonsense. I can't tell you how many times.
Oh yeah.
I got in a lot of nonsense with wrestling. Don't get me wrong, but like it saved me from like a lot of like I always had something to look forward to. And you have your, like there's a lot of wrestling's a very dirty business. I don't have to tell either one of you that, but you
Yeah.
have your friends that the guys that you see every weekend or you become, real tight with and stuff that stays beyond
Yeah.
wrestling too, So
Mhm.
like
Yep.
I always had that like I don't like I ain't much around it much now, but I mean like there really was the brotherhood with it. You know what I mean? There really was like it wasn't like I don't want to say watered down, but it wasn't watered down. There wasn't a half trained guy training another half trained guy, training another half trained guy, training a half
Isn't
trained guy.
that's the truth?
You know what I mean? Like so you have everybody you pretty much mostly everybody you had in that locker room showed you their respect. You gave them their respect. You worked together. You had this brotherhood that always made me feel better. You know
Right.
what I mean? It always made me feel proud to be a part of it. And one of the reasons why I stepped away when I did was I felt I was starting to slow down and I had some nagging stuff that just never went away. But then like seeing guys on shows that were just in Walmart gear and like I was like, this guy don't deserve to like I felt like you don't deserve to be here with us because you're just
Mhm.
not it stressed me out. Like you don't deserve to be here. All I kept thinking was, what the fuck would Sam do with this guy? You know what I mean? Like, and I like you don't deserve to be here. Like, and it would stress me out. And then I think, oh, it's just one or two guys. Then it'd become like, depending on where you were going and who Now I talked to Rob about this a couple. Probably it was probably a month or two ago now. Now you got these jokers that they're not even wrestlers. They're not even trained, and they're being put on shows. Like this is totally like that to me would make me that to me is self harm because
Very true.
you don't know
Yeah.
you have no. I actually had one guy, the one guy was put on the show. I know him. I haven't seen him in a while, but I know him, and he's yeah, oh he's a little goofy. He says to me, he sends me a message. He says, um. "What's the best way to take a body slam?" And I messaged. I said, "What are you doing? What are you playing with your kids or something?" No, I'm doing this like just this little thing for this show and everything. And I'm like, "What's this little thing? Describe that." Oh, we're having a match. I'm like, "Listen, man, wrestling's not playtime. You know what I mean? For
No.
us, it's play. For
Right.
us, it's playtime.
Right.
For us, it's playtime in our underwear. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
what wrestling is for us.
Yeah.
But for you don't get to have that playtime. You didn't earn that playtime.
Right. You didn't
No.
train.
You know what I mean? You clowns get hurt or something like that. You don't know who has that license, who has this. I said, don't do it. And then a couple days later, I see this guy making this like backyard video for like a promo for this show, and I'm like, what in the fuck is going on here? And then I'm like, this guy's they're gonna get killed. They're gonna get killed.
Yeah.
So then I
Jesus.
messaged the promoter and I said, what in the F are you doing? What are you doing?
Jesus. Yeah.
Like that's the self harm of it. Like
Yeah.
the little, everybody knows now, the little gigs or the blood and stuff like that. That's no self harm or the actor. It's basically, athletic theater. You know, it was
Yeah.
one of the best releases I ever had. I met some of the best people I ever met in my life. And I mean, I don't regret a day of it. It's probably the top 3 things I'm most proud of.
Right.
But I think it helps a lot of people, but I think also it can hurt a lot of people because even like I always said, I never made it to the big time, but back in the day, I used to act like I did, and that kind of
Absolutely.
that don't always mix too good, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the partying
So,
and stuff isn't exactly the best, but you know, as far as the physicality and stuff like that, I never felt better than when I was doing it.
Yeah.
right on, man. All right. So the guy that was asking you about how to take a body slam, he's he one of those people that go around calling everybody oos?
No, he don't. I don't even think he knows what the oos is yet. But give it time.
Yeah.
I mean, like it just blew my mind. It just blows my mind. And then for to make things even better, I see one of these guys on a fucking poster for the show, and I'm like,
What?
Is this a 4-letter promotion?
yes,
Is one of the places called a dirt mall?
yes. And I
Oh,
love and listen,
I screamed at the owner of the promotion.
and he was always so good to me. And when I messaged him, I knew I was upset with it. He's like, just call me. I'm like, and at the time, really was busy. And he was always good to me. He always paid me.
Right,
He let
right,
me do whatever I
right.
wanted. He never did nothing like that. But
Yeah.
I was like, dude, you are ruining everything that someone else that's in this chat right now fixed. They're fixed. I said, so, and my mind was just totally blown. My mind was totally blown. And I'm like, this is not for, this is just, I can't, you know what I mean? Like if I was still active, like I don't even, like I would probably say to Rob, we're not going to tell nobody, but when this shit goes on, we're going to hit that ring and we're going to beat the shit out of both of you. You know what I mean? Like for real. Like it wasn't theater. It's really going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and we're going to save what little legitimacy and what people don't think is about wrestling. We're going to make them believe it for about fucking 5 to 7 minutes.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, and yeah, I had a long conversation with him. I texted him, and I was like, "What in the all embarrassment of professional wrestling do you have going on in this damn thing?"
Yeah.
Like,
And you know the worst
Jesus.
part? You know the worst part? Like you have legitimate wrestlers, great wrestlers, trained wrestlers that have been around on these shows.
Mm.
yeah,
And then you have this. And then you have like these guys are paying, you know, their people are, oh, they get to go in the ring and they're coming to see them. And these guys that are legitimately good, most of them who both of us worked a million times, are like, they're like the outcast. It's just
yeah,
like, it blows my mind. It just stresses me.
like,
I just can't. I can't. You know,
yeah,
like
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
only part. That's another part of wrestling that I don't miss. Like I don't miss
yes,
that. Like I don't know how Rob keeps doing it because like putting a show together and you know all the different personalities and all that shit's stressful. I never ran
yeah,
one show, but I watched you know him and I watched Sam and I watched Greg and I watched all of them and people all of them run them different. Rob's is very structured and it's almost militant. And that's the same way I was brought up at Sam because he'll tell you, you know, I don't care what number you're on the card. I want you to try and have the best match on the card. Right?
absolutely,
I want, you know, and Sam used to tell everybody, you know what I mean? He used to tell everybody, listen, I don't want to see none of this, you know, these missing hits and everything. He goes, if you're afraid to get hit, then you're in the wrong business. There's a safe way to do it. You know, like it was a lot of the
yep,
same stuff. You know, even with Tates and everything, it was the same guys. You could still have the old guys, you know, run the locker room. When I
Yep, just me.
damn,
I'll Hopefully we get back in here.
Cassie with the chair shot.
Yeah. Jared, if you can still see the stream, just go back into the chat and click on the link. It should bring you back in. Yeah.
Come on.
Or Jared, sorry, brain fart there. Yeah. I don't know, man.
I thought you said Jared.
I thought I said Jared too, but I'm reading comment too, and I'm looking at Chad's name, so just be on the safe side.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
But yeah, crazy. I was all fired up, and I got kicked out.
No, man.
But no, I loved wrestling. I always said the gym was my wife, wrestling was my girlfriend. Eventually, I knew I was gonna have to live without it, without being active in it. But like, it was the best. It was such an honor to be a part of it. And sometimes here and there, I show up every now and again, but I don't. My days of wrestling are over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I don't know how. Like I said, I don't know how. You deal with all the different personalities and everything else. Because I don't. I'm telling you right now, in that way, you have a lot more patience than I do, Rob. So you should be proud of yourself. One pillar three. One pillar three.
Shit. Oh, man.
So you're saying I should have been on those pills years ago?
No, it don't. Listen. It didn't really matter. Like, that's the thing. Like, we were so much alike. You know what I mean? Like, if Rob wasn't cursing at somebody, like I wouldn't, about the show. But if Rob wasn't cursing, at somebody, there was a good chance somewhere in the building I was yelling and cursing at somebody. Like,
Yep.
it's just, it's. That's why I think we always got along so well. Why we always worked together so well. Why we always, trusted each other totally, 100%.
Absolutely.
But now it's the dirt mall, I guess. I don't fucking know.
All right, so I know the post you put up. I brought it real fast, Rob. I brought up the Oos thing. So now, is this a switch from, like you were saying, it used to be like a brotherhood? Do you feel nowadays, with this new younger generation, like Oos is the new thing, and they just throw it out there, and you know what I mean? Like, just throw it out there left and right.
I think, honestly, I've never called anybody that, because I always thought that was like a Samoan thing, or if you train with Sam, or you train with one of the Samoans, that you were given the privilege to say that. So I never said it. But as for the new crowd, man, you don't want me to get started. Because listen, there's a guy who's starting a company. You guys know him, Kevin Kelly. I'll say his name. Kevin Kelly's starting a business. He's going to start his own wrestling business. And there was tons and tons and tons when he was working for this one company. He left to go to AEW. And all these people talk shit on him about this and that, blah, blah, blah. And those same people that talk shit on him are kissing his ass to get in his promotion. And I said to him, man, I bet your fucking ears are burning. And he was like, and he said to me, he goes, it's funny, you're the second person. He said, the other person who called him was like, how many brothers did you get?
Brother, daddy, brother.
Yeah. It's just, it's, and I'll say it again. It's the people of the world. We just see it in our business because this is the business we're in. I'm sure there's still scumbags in fucking comedy. There's scumbags in acting.
Oh yeah, it's everything.
It's everywhere. And it's just, we say it's wrestling because this is the business we're in and we see it that way. But wrestling isn't the fucking dirt bag. It's the fucking people that we let inside with us. That's the dirt bags.
And not everybody was allowed before. That's the thing. There was a cap. Not everybody was allowed. You know what I mean? Like, I never called Sam Oos until, I was he called me, basically you earned that. You know what I mean? Like, you earned calling it, saying it. And even though people think, oh, what's the big deal? It's a big deal when you're working for them guys. It's a
Right.
big deal when you have the respect that you have for them. You know what I'm saying? Like when he refers to you as like, because they're all, like Rob Sting, all big on the family aspect of it and everything, and it's to me, for somebody to water it down like that, to me that's beyond unacceptable and disrespectful. But like
Yeah.
he said, it's everywhere. It's in your job or your normal work. You know what I mean? It's just the way society is today.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
There are way too many people in this business that I don't know. It's the same with everything, man. Like I tell Haley all the time, like with the music today, you know what I mean? Like back in the day, you actually had to have talent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like to sing, you had to have talent. Nowadays, you don't need talent to sing. It's because everyone's afraid of getting sued for telling the truth and saying, "Hey, you fucking suck. Go do something else."
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
There's always
Like
auto.
like there was a time when I loved watching American Idol just because Simon would be like, "Oh, that was awful." But he would tell the truth, you know what I mean? And then he became the bad guy because he was being honest. Like,
Yeah.
and that's the way it should be in wrestling too. Like all these kids with these egos and let me tell you this other one. So there was this uh post that somebody posted, and he was saying how I think it's bullshit with the old school attitude on how if you don't help anybody with the ring, you shouldn't be nobody should talk to you bad. Nobody should have to help out with the ring. If you hire somebody if you rent their ring and you hire them, they should have their own ring crew to help out. None of the wrestlers should have to help touch the ring and stuff like that. And I'm like, wow, like that's just like that's not just paying your dues. That's just like, like if Ox had a bunch of groceries, hey bro, you want me to give you a hand? You know what I'm saying? Like you should want to help that person out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all these people were agreeing with this. Oh yeah, you're right. It is new school. This is our new school attitude, blah blah blah. And somebody that's brutal reshared it, and everybody was agreeing with this. And then Luke Hawks put up a post a couple days ago that said, "What happened to the days of everybody giving a hand with the ring?" He goes, "I never see any of the younger guys helping out with the ring. They come late, they leave early. You know what I mean?" And again, the same people that talk shit about the old school part were kissing this guy's ass, saying, "You're right, nobody does it anymore." And these are the
Yeah.
same jerk offs that were on the post agreeing with the other one. You know what I mean? Like it's like,
Yeah.
man, shut the it's just crazy, man. Like Luke Hawks was right, and so was Kevin,
Yeah.
So
I'll leave it this way: if I'm the wrestler and I'm in that ring, I want to be a part of that from beginning to end, setting that up, learning
right.
all the knowledge from it, no matter where I'm at, no matter where
Well,
I'm at.
don't get me wrong. There is a when there's too many people helping you with the ring, it
Oh yeah, it gets nuts to butts then, understandable.
yeah. It gets annoying. So, but a little help is appreciated every once in a while. So,
I always look at it this way: you're the promoter, you're putting on the show, they're your trainees. Fuck it, man. They should be setting up that ring for you guys,
oh,
dude.
absolutely, absolutely,
Showing,
absolutely,
showing you what they've learned, what they've done, and the respect.
absolutely, for sure.
It's definitely not like the way it was. I'll agree with that. We got more
No,
acrobatics nowadays than we do. I think sometimes storytelling in the ring. It's
oh
it's all
yeah,
about the high. It's like high spot, high spot, high spot, high spot. Oh,
oh yeah.
somebody's no selling something just to get back up. Like I kind of miss that rough, gritty aspect
Well,
of wrestling.
well,
Kind of.
there's ways to make them sell.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got that right.
No, there's definitely ways to make them sell. So
shit. All right, so we got about 10 minutes left here. Any advice you guys want to give to anybody, any guys that are listening?
for wrestling, for life, for
Life, wrestling, mental health, you name it. Just, you know what? Life in general. I mean, because I see youth nowadays leaving high school don't even know how to fucking cook a meal because they don't give them life skills or be able to write out a check.
they
So it
can't
could be
even
mental
sign
health.
their name.
Yeah.
You got
It could
that
be
right.
mental health. It could be life. It could be whatever. What's a good piece of advice you can give everybody?
You first, Ox.
Um,
I just can't call him Jared. Sorry, Mark.
I know you can call me whatever you want, buddy.
Uh,
You know, I think I, I could say I could give you advice, but most of the time I'm not going to follow it myself. Um, like try not to sweat the small stuff. Put your
yeah.
family first. Put your friends, your close friends, in there with your family.
Yep.
People don't help you. Don't worry about helping them. Put the people who prioritize you, prioritize them.
Absolutely.
Um,
It makes
but
sense.
work hard. You know what I mean? Have your outlets and try not to take on too much where you're overwhelmed. Make sure you love yourself so you can help and love other people. You know what I mean? Always try and give yourself, and I know no one would believe it how I act, but I have a very strong, relationship with God. I don't go to church. I'm not a Bible thumper by any means, but give have your daily time with him and give yourself up to him and ask him for the help that you need, and just
Mhm.
try and be a good human. A lot of times karma gets us, man. It's going to get every single one of us. And I know I've done a lot of bad in my life. And I know, I've gotten things that are probably karma for it, and I've probably got some more coming. You know what I mean?
That-
But
right. Me too.
do some, try and do one good thing a day for somebody.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy. Opening a door for somebody isn't going to kill you. You know what I mean? Hey, good morning. How are you? That might be the difference between somebody, losing their shit and not losing their shit. You don't know. We don't know what everybody's going through. So, and coming from me, who's an asshole, and I'll be the first one to tell you, try and do your best to be kind for the most part.
Yeah.
People are just pieces of shit anyway you look at it. And it's hard to give good advice to people because the good people will take it, the assholes won't.
Yeah.
And it's like, for an example, yesterday, my oldest son's car, the battery's going in it. So I went to jump him, and he's parked in a spot, and I parked in two spots in front of a Sheets to help jump him. And he was there for 10 minutes asking people, and nobody would help him. So
Yeah.
he called me, and of course I went. And a woman didn't say, "Hey, you guys all right? You need help?" She goes, "Do you really have to park like a fucking asshole?" Well, guess what she got? She got the asshole, all right. He came out and talked to her, basically saying, "Go get your man, bitch." so, it, like he's saying, you just have to be nice to people, man. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't kill you to be nice, man. It
No,
doesn't.
it doesn't kill you. It doesn't cost anything.
Nah,
You
man.
know?
You can be good to people, and believe me,
But don't let them
sometimes.
walk on you though either. Don't let them take
No,
advantage of you.
no,
Yeah,
When
absolutely
you
exactly.
not.
start smelling that, that's when you turn the asshole button on. You know?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. 100%.
Never let nobody walk on you, but it's you could be kind to people, man. It's easy to be kind to people. It's easier to be an asshole.
Well, yeah.
And
Well,
I and
it's like wrestling. It's easier to be the heel than it is to be the baby face.
absolutely, that's so true.
That is true.
Because it's easy to piss people off, but
Yeah,
it's tough to get the masses to love you,
yeah,
'cause
yeah,
you have to strike that chord. But my
yeah.
piece of advice to everybody is when they're going through shit, look, Close your eyes. Picture one thing you never made it through in your life. Because I guarantee you, when you open them, you're going to see the world around you because you made it through everything.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
Right.
You know,
That's
you
really
made
true.
it through everything. You made it through everything. You're here to tell your story. You know,
Yeah,
no matter how
for sure.
stressed out you might be or depressed or whatever's going on, you're still here,
Yeah.
here to this day to be able to talk to somebody else. So
Yeah,
that's one
for
of
sure.
the key ones I always go to. But being nice is fucking free. So that's always a good one.
Yeah, you can be good to people. Shit,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
it. As
You
long as they
know,
deserve it.
yes.
They
That's
have to
right.
deserve it.
Yes.
That's right.
100%. And it's
If you
always
don't
okay to
deserve it,
stand up
green
for
light.
negative. Green light, yes. Yeah.
For sure.
All right, guys. Well, we've hit our hour mark. Like I always say, you know, we are here. If anybody needs any help for anything, feel free to DM us. You know, you're having a shit day. And when I say a shit day, it could be something small that's bugging you that you just need to get
Yep.
out for that moment.
Yeah.
But once you get a hold of me, we're going to talk about that little shit moment. We're going to move on to the next thing. We're not going to
Absolutely.
dwell on it. So,
We're
but
here for you.
we're always here for you. Stay thirsty for life. Stay thirsty for new adventures. You know, and stay thirsty for, you know, family, friends, and love around you. Like I always say.
Absolutely.
Till next time. Cheers.
Peace.
See you guys.
See ya.